Hello, this is Nico, and I'm here to tell you how to run the books at the desk. Here is an example of a score sheet. You will be filling out two score sheets, one for the dark team and one for the white team. There are a few things you need to fill in before the game starts. You need to write down the date, time, and site of the game, and you also need to write down the names of the two teams, and you need to do these for both sheets. And for each sheet, you need to circle the color of the caps for each team. If the coach ever comes to you with a cap that needs to be changed, you just cross out the number and write in the new number. Here you need to write down the names of the timekeeper, the scorekeeper, and the assistant who runs the flags. Your job for running the books is to keep track of every main event that occurs during the course of the game. The most important part of the score sheet is the part under game progress. You can start on the Menlo sheet, and if needed, you can continue on to the other team's page. If you take a look at the bottom of the sheet, you will see the remarks you need to make. For goals, you only need to write down G. You don't need to include exclusion goal or penalty goals. Also, for exclusions, you only need to write down exclusion and exclusion game in the rare case of a brutality. You don't need to include the minor exclusion. Other remarks that you're going to need to make are penalties, timeouts, and the yellow cards and red cards. When one of these things happen, you need to record the time, the team, the cap number, the remark, and the score. For example, at the time 2:52, on the cap number 9 dark, there was an exclusion, and the score was 0-0. And right after that, at the time 2:50, there was a goal scored by white, cap number 7, and the score is now 0-1, dark white. Here's an example of a filled-in score sheet. If you look at the first line, at the time 7:34, cap number 2 dark scored a goal, making the score 1-0 dark. Now you go over to the cap number 2 and you find the first quarter and you put down one tally for a goal. Now at the time 7:04, cap number 10 dark also scored a goal, making the score 2-0 dark. You go over to cap number 10, first quarter, and you put down one tally for one goal. Now at the time 6:58, number 15 was excluded. The score is still 2-0. You go over to 15 and you find the fouls, and in the first box you put in exclusion 1 for an exclusion in the first period. At the time 6:21, the head coach was given a yellow card, score still 2-0. At the time 5:58, white cap number 3 scored a goal, making the score 2-1. Now you would put this tally on the other sheet. Cap number 3, a goal in the first quarter. Now at the time 5:10, white cap number 6 also scored a goal, making the score 2-2. Now you go to 6, first quarter, and there is a goal there. At the time 5:04, number 2 dark was ejected. The score still 2-0. So you go to 2 and you write down exclusion 1 because it was in the first quarter. Now at the end of there were more events, but at the end of the first quarter you draw a line and you write first quarter here, showing that it was the end of a quarter. Now in the second quarter, at the time 7:50, number 8 dark scored a goal, making the score 12-2. You go over here to 8 and second quarter, and you tally 1. Now, finally, at the time 7:20, the head coach called a timeout. The score is still 12-2, so you go down here, or the dark head coach called a timeout, so you go here, and in the second quarter, there is one timeout. Now, when someone has 2 kickouts, for example, number 4, dark, has 2 ejections, make sure to tell the referee so they can notify the coach. And when someone has 3 kickouts, for example, number 10, tell the referee and tell the person running the flag so when they're swimming out for their 3rd kickout, they can raise the red flag showing that they're out for the rest of the game. At the end of a quarter, you need to make sure to write down the score for both teams. Finally, at the end of the game, there are a few main things you need to do. You need to count all the tallies that you've made for each player and write down their total number of goals. You also need to add up the scores for each quarter for each team and have the final score shown here. And finally, what you need to do is give these 2 sheets of paper to the referee and make sure they write their name and sign it here. After penalties, goals, and exclusions, the referee will help you out by using hand signals to show the numbers. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one fist is 10. This is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now after 15 it gets a little bit trickier. They go like, for 16 they flash the 5 and the 1, like this. For 17 it's the 5 and the 2. 18, 19, and 2 fists is 20. Hey, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope this helps you when you're working on the desk.